Johnson, the former firefighter, he ain't got a hose. He ain't got a hose for that one.
Out Myers for Fletcher with Jones. Fletcher getting everything lined up just right. That's gotta be a 50.
Okay, I am now thrilled to welcome on a very special guest, and he's also unique. He is considered by many to be one of, if not the best SlamBall players of all time. His name is Stanley, aka Shakes Fletcher, and he has been gracious enough to join me and discuss the state of SlamBall and his career. Stanley, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for, keep even having me on here to interview me, man. This is great.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I just wanted to start off and maybe go in depth a little bit on what SlamBall is. A lot of my viewers are younger, maybe like high school, college age. So when SlamBall first came onto the scene, they were maybe 2 or 3 years old. So can you explain to me a little bit what SlamBall is and, where like the entire process of the sport? Because it's very just a fascinating game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think SlamBall came out at a time right when, towards the end, we just had 80s and 90s basketball in the NBA. So everybody was super hyped. But then we had these video games that were coming out like, arch rivals. We had NBA Live and all this stuff. So, and it kind of gave us some, NBA Jam. It gave us this exaggerated form of basketball with arch rivals and NBA Jam, kind of give you that more physicality that you kind of wanted at basketball. If you like, you go to the parks and everybody's calling a foul, you're like, man, I'm tired of playing, right? I just want to play. So we kind of brought that mentality. Well, you got to think about Mason when he made it. Mason Gordon is the guy that made the whole sport. When he made it, he just was a video game guy. You know what I'm saying? He's a video game guy that was a hooper, So Mason would be at the courts right with me. He'd be where all the hoopers is at. And then he just, took his idea and wanted to expand it more on the NBA Jam type of field. So basically put 4 trampolines in the key, right? We positioned the 4 trampolines in the key where there's a way where a stopper, we call the guy as like a goalie in soccer, the stopper can get in there and make a play each time without his trampoline being interfered with the attacking spring beds that's surrounding those. So that's how that's set up. So you guys get about 18 feet in the air. The stopper jousts with the gunner or the handler to see who can win in the air, win the battle in the air. Dunks are worth 3, everything else is worth 2. So the reward attacking the basket and getting physical and try to throw it down. Outside of the spring beds, there's the floor is still spring loaded also, so you can dribble the basketball. But once you put the ball on the floor, then you're fair game. Like football. I mean, more like hockey. More like hockey style checking.
Mm-hmm.
So you get some guys getting blown up on the floor. You get some good passes, some good alley-oops. I mean, it just combines all the best elements of gymnastics, hockey, basketball, and football, and it's all wrapped into one, and that's SlamBall.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's almost kind of like rugby too, especially with how the halves are like I feel like they're so short, right? And so I think that's
right
perfect for today, where like everyone's like complaining about the attention spans of the younger generation, how it's going down.
Hey,
Everyone's
you cannot play.
You
can't play a long SlamBall game.
Yeah. Is it?
I mean, see, this is what people don't understand when they watch it. It looks easy because first of all, we got the trampolines. They think trampoline means go high. That's wrong. That's right. You know what I mean? Because we had a lot of guys that got cut. They just couldn't get no bounce off the trampoline. Still to this day, they just don't understand it. And it takes a lot of work to be able to get used to the spring beds. But at the same time, like just running from the regular floor to jump onto the spring bed and to get up, to dig and get up in there, then to try to battle somebody, it's a lot of work, man. It's hard. You got to be in really good shape to play SlamBall like full court at a high level.
Yeah. So what was your athletic background before SlamBall? Were you a basketball player? I know some guys played basketball before. So
yeah, just basketball guy, trying to go through school playing basketball. And then I was about 20 years old when I got introduced to SlamBall. And then so I went on from my junior college. I was in a junior college. And then I went to try out my guy, David Redmond. He went to the same high school as me. David was like 6'9". He played SlamBall also. He actually was there before me. He brought me to the sport. So David Redmond, this big 6'9" guy that was awesome at basketball in high school that I know is telling me to come through and check it out. So then I end up, leaving junior college to go pursue SlamBall. And then that's the next year after we did the pilot, that's when we got our TV deal, 2 years when we did SpikeTV. And then, the rest is history.
Mm-hmm. So take me through the SpikeTV era of SlamBall. So that was 2002 and 2003, right?
Yeah, 2002, 2003, right.
So
and then
oh yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So previous, the year before that, 2001. I mean, the year 2000 to 2001 that's when we did a whole lot of tests. We did a whole lot of testing. There was a bunch of spare parts being broken, and people just trying to we're trying to put this thing together. And then we finally got to a completed court, which we had one in East LA. And then, we got some attention. People start coming around to the gym. We got better at, understanding the sport, how it can work. And we put on this game for some, pretty big execs and signed a contract right then. Then that's, maybe a few more months after that, that's when we got to our very first season.
Mm-hmm. So the SlamBall season, so how were the games kind of scheduled? Like, were you playing one game a week, or were you like playing maybe multiple in a day perhaps, or something like that? Because I know did SpikeTV live broadcast the SlamBall games or no? Were they live broadcast?
The only one game, our championship game in 2000, I think that was our third season 3, when we was on with IMG. Oh, okay. IMG, I picked this up, and then we did the championship game. I think was live broadcasted on NBC. We actually beat out the Cowboys and NASCAR in ratings that day. Yeah, on a Sunday.
NASCAR.
Yeah.
See, I've never understood the appeal of NASCAR. The Cowboys, though, that's pretty big, But
yes, yeah, we won that day.
Good. So how long did the season last in SlamBall? How many games did you guys play? Because I feel like watching all these replays of games on YouTube, it's kind of hard to get like a general concept of like the time that's being put into the season. So how long did the season last? How many games did you play? Things like that.
Well, I mean, at that time, we had to shoot it more like a TV show. Mm-hmm. We didn't have the capacity yet to shoot it like a real sport and do this long drawn out season. So we had to go through the process to find the players. So we had, maybe about a month worth of tryouts and development, and then picking the players that were going to, fill each team roster. And then once we got into that, then we had maybe a couple months, 2 or 3 months worth of just practicing in group with everyone, and then breaking it down to picking the teams and then practicing with your teams. And then when we shot the actual season, it probably only took about 3 weeks, something like that, about 3 weeks. And then we were playing 2 games a day.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we was playing 2 games a day. We play a morning game, afternoon game, and then we'll play a, evening game at night. So, for 2.5 weeks, 2 games a day, it was pretty tough. That was pretty tough on the body, but I'm hoping, with the development that we got going on for the new season, we'll be able to expand it into like more of a real league, a real official league where we got some time. It might be one day, 1 game a week, something like that. Then guys can get out there and just give, 100% every single game.
Mm-hmm. How did they pick the teams initially? Because it wasn't like geographically based. Was there a draft or something like that? Or was it just kind of like?
Yeah, we actually went to different cities. Went to
really?
Probably about maybe 5 or 6 different cities and did a tryout process.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then the guys that we were interested in, when we was ready to bring them into the training camp, they got the ticket. They flew. They came all out to LA. Yeah, it was in LA. And then then we did the whole tryout process. While we're here, all the selected guys come to one location. You show what you got. You try your best, and then if you make the cut, we had a certain amount of players that we was going to keep. That's how we'll make the cuts. Mm-hmm. And then from that amount of people that get selected, then you go to the next phase of that, because we still haven't selected you to a team yet. Mm-hmm. So now you're playing in front of the coaches and the ex players, the returning players, to try to see, hey, which guy we want, which guy we want to add to our team. And then we did a full on draft and all that stuff.
So in 2008 was the IMG season, right? So that was played outdoors?
Yeah. Both, all three, except for series 1. Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what was the difference between outdoors and indoors?
You know what? We actually liked the outdoor field. Outdoor field was pretty good. Mm-hmm. Indoor was cool. It was our first season. We're just so used to playing sports indoors, especially playing basketball. You're just used to playing inside a gym. But, we like the street ball field with it being outdoors, the sun shining on you. It was in California. That was great, except for at one time, I think series 2, it got a little cold at night. So, and it got a little misty and the floor got slippery, man. Like, and we got a big production crew around everything. It's not like, okay, well, let's just wait. And that they cost a lot of money, so It's like the show got to go on. We wiping down the floors. And we actually got some of the best games ever just because the guys were so on point because, there was this obstacle you had to address with the floor being so slippery. So that was only one thing I could say that I didn't like about it. But other than that, I love the outdoor field.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you about your creativity, because the reason why I reached out to you is because I kind of I saw the Part of My Take interview, and I just was kind of just like looking around at highlights, and you were the one guy who like stood out. Like you were doing all these crazy like bounce passes to yourself. I don't even know what is kind of like what's unlocked in your brain to even make you like attempt some of these things, because it felt like you were the only person kind of pushing the envelope here and trying to create new moves. And then now you're like regarded as one of like the most creative and one of the best players in the sport.
Well, I mean, for me, I had to, my first instinct was, look, this is not the NFL. This is not the NBA. No one gives a shit if you go up there and just dunk over and over again like this. That's how I felt. Who gives a shit? Everybody can do that without the trampoline. I could do that myself without the trampoline. So why do I want to sit there and watch somebody use a trampoline to do the same dunk or maybe even worse than what they're going to do in the NBA? So in my mind, I'm like, we gotta find out some way to innovate. I can't even really worry about who's the champion, who gives a shit. Like in my mind, no one's really going back in the SlamBall and saying, you know what, who was the champ? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I had to take that risk in order to bring the creativity and see a difference. This is a different sport. It's not the same as anything else. So I spent most of my time, at the court. I would tell Mason, hey, let me get, 2 hours by myself, because, I got to work out the kinks, And so I just spent a lot of time not only practicing with my team, but practicing just by myself on just trying my best to fill out how can I play the stopper, create the opposite bounce. Because, my second thing is I'm not the biggest guy out there. I'm going against guys 6'10", 6'11", 230, 250 pounds. I can't crash into them like that. I'm not that big, and plus I'm one of the guys that's going to attack the basket more often for the team. So I got to find a way. Plus I need to innovate the sport. So that was my whole thought process of why I had to just do something different.
Mm-hmm. How difficult was it to kind of create like the timing between you and your teammates? Because some of these alley-oops I've seen, I think one of your guys was Mike Goldman. Is that his name?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mike Goldman, you and him would just be like automatic. It seemed like with the timing, the alley-oops, everything. And I feel like that's like super hard to manage in regular basketball, let alone when you're trying to deal with a trampoline. How long and like how difficult was that process of trying to create that perfect like rhythm and timing with your teammates?
That actually was Mike Goldman actually is pretty good at basketball. Mm-hmm. So me and him, we play basketball in the same area, and we could end up knowing each other a little bit, but just, I guess, knowing the basketball feel of, when someone's going to jump, how to throw the lob, stuff like that, that transitions pretty well in SlamBall. It's just it's just an adjustment on the timing, mm-hmm. But we made that adjustment like pretty simple, between me and him. So it was easy. So once we figured that out, he's pretty much only looking for for me on the court anyway. Like if I'm gonna throw it to, no one else is jumping. So I think it didn't take that long for us to develop that like chemistry.
So after 2008, SlamBall isn't really around in the United States in terms of TV. Where did SlamBall go after 2008? Because I know you were in China, I think, kind of like coaching and playing, right? So was China kind of like where everything kind of moved? And then tell me about your experience in China, playing, coaching. I know don't you have like a gym there too, where you're like,
so after 2008 season, we had to take a small break. There was some things going on with the IMG contract, and we was actually supposed to come back in 2009 for another season. I don't know. I can't really speak on exactly what happened because I don't want to say anything wrong. But we had to go away for a second. Michael's son is a partner of ours. That is the one that helped transition SlamBall from America to China. So when Michael brought it to China, he needed some time to set things up, get some partners in place. And around 2011, 2012 is when SlamBall officially opened up in China. And then so we just started doing a bunch of tours and little activations out there to just, catch the eye of people and let them know that it was coming. And then we did a big tournament. I think that was Series 4. I don't think too many people seen too much of Series 4 highlights, but I'm on my page. I'm going to start doing some reviews on those so people can kind of understand that transition. And then after that, when we finally opened our SlamBall Center, our first SlamBall Center in 2014, that's when they gave me the job as head training director there. So that's when me and my family moved to China, to Shanghai, China. And then I started managing the facility, creating the textbook, creating the training program, and then teaching all the university students how to play the game. While we put our tournament together, it was putting a University SlamBall Athletic Association tournament. And so that ended up we grew from 8 teams to 32 teams now.
Wow.
Yeah.
But these are all like universities in China that are just in their own.
All universities in China. So, it's weird in China, right? Because they have, like for us in the States, we don't have a designated sports school.
Right.
Like all of them do sports, right? Go to any college. It's all can be respected. They all can make it to a tournament, but it's not like that. There's tons of universities in China, but there's only about maybe 15 or 16 sports universities. And they legit only have the guys that are ready to play sports. The other ones literally don't have any sports athletes there. Not too many. It's hard. And I thought that was going to be there. I was like, we need sports university. That probably does. Just go to, Jiao Tong was the one that was in Shanghai. And it's kind of local. I'm like, let's just go to Jiao Tong and get the guys. Literally, it was just the gap of athleticism between a sports university and a regular university there is extreme. So that was something I had to learn.
What do you think? How do you think the game has kind of evolved from like the early SpikeTV era and then to now where you're playing in China? And I watched some of the 2016 series, I think, and it just looked like it kind of looked like a different sport in a way. It felt like a lot more like cutting and things like that. So how do you think the game has kind of evolved since its inception?
Well, I know for a fact now, if we have a new season, God willing, this thing comes back and we get to do this thing the right way or the way that we really want to see it, that we really see it. The training method has been totally changed. So the way we teach the sport, the way we progressively teach people how to get to, to the point where they can actually handle SlamBall comfortably and be effective. And then they can take that, step by step to the next level. That has all the way changed. And because now we're thinking about offsetting the stopper and playing off that offset. We're having new defensive schemes. Now people are just using low bounces just to cut, just to set up a play. More like, we should have a hockey assist in SlamBall, because that first pass that initiates that one pass that goes to the big play, that's worth something because you start the process. So just the whole thinking of the sport and really evolving, because it was so new. There was no way that we can get to that point just at, from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So with time, watching the sport, watching the game, teaching it, actually going to China and doing all this stuff, grassroots, and developing all these different methods, that's going to help us, push the sport in a way that we really saw before at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And then you personally, I don't know, do you still like play competitive SlamBall? Are you just coaching and training?
You know what? Like I said, if we make this comeback, I don't see myself probably playing right now. Because it's so much other things I think I'll be, helpful for, like, with the training and, developing the team, helping out with the event, all this other stuff, I'll be a little bit more helpful for, but I wouldn't mind playing again. I'm only 40, I'm 41 now, but I can still hang, man. I wouldn't mind playing again, but I just think I would do a lot better, helping out on the administrative side.
Right. Mm-hmm. So then from 2002 to like 2016, I think that was the last time I saw you play in terms of like YouTube and stuff. I don't know if you played after that, but how did your own personal game kind of change as SlamBall also changed?
I know that last season I kind of went into it, first I didn't get to train as hard as I wanted to because of that administrative side of things that I was also handling. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of roles I was playing also, but I went in there thinking I could just set people up, and I would rather be a setup guy, out there on the floor than trying to get buckets out there. I just see the game a little bit differently than a lot of guys would see it. So I can kind of see 2 or 3 plays ahead, what's going to happen, and just with that experience alone, I think translating that knowledge to people that's just playing, that have this incredible athletic ability, that's super young and just ready to go after it, and give them that mentality of how to do this. I think we can create a really good SlamBall, league.
Mm-hmm. So I'm sure, I watched your video reacting to the Pardon My Take interview with Mason Gordon. And you said some things about like the GOAT conversation, right? It was, I think he mentioned you and then Jelani Janice.
Right.
Can you like kind of just like expand on your position there? So like, where do you see yourself in these rankings? Like, where would you rank yourself?
Like I said, I don't think anybody plays a sport to say, hey, look, I'm number 2. So I'm not going to do that. I love Jelani's game. I think Jelani's an absolute beast. And like I said, if I had to choose somebody to be on my team first, and if I could pull him off his team and get him, I would definitely choose Jelani first for sure. But yeah, I do see myself, because I just look at this, like the sport as we're building something historical, right? It wasn't about wins and losses for me out there. It was about how do we push this sport to the next level, and then all the things I've done so far on the court, and off the court, I could definitely see myself in that conversation, but, if everybody has a playing style that they like, so you just leave it up to the people and let them watch it and see what they choose and have fun that way. If they happen to say me, I love it. If they say somebody else, I could appreciate it, because whoever they mention, I probably have really, really good respect for,
So who are some of the newer SlamBall players that you could see, like, once SlamBall comes back, like, who do you think will be getting like the most headlines and like getting all the praise? Any new players?
Some of the guys that played before, there was one guy, Myrie. Myrie was really good, and I think he's probably still ready to play. He's still in really good shape. This dude can bounce off the ground like just crazy. So I would like to see. I think he would still be killing it right now. John Thomas is a guy that came in. He just came from playing overseas right now, I think in like Brazil or somewhere in North America, but he's still in shape, and he's got some action out there. Of course, on my stoppers, Rodney Baum, that guy's a beast. Like, he just stays in shape. He's actually doing bodybuilding. He's a professional bodybuilder now, and he's like 6'9" with 7-foot wingspan, and he knows the spring. So he would kill it also. And then Memphis Robinson, so I'm just naming some of the guys that just entered into slam ball as we were getting out of that IMG situation that we was in. So if it was to come back now, I think those names that I mentioned, those guys that do a lot of work. I'm really more interested to see like what my, some of my Chinese students would do. The one kid, Lu Fong, he did really good against our guys without that much, he trained with me for maybe about seven months. He got 7 months strong on the spring beds, which a lot of guys don't get that much time. When we do it, normally when you do a season, you only get about maybe 3 or 4 weeks of training before you start. And sometimes when we went to China, it was only a couple weeks that they got to train and get back used to the spring beds before they actually had to play, at a high level. But Louis he had a strong like 6 or 7 months on the spring beds. He did great. My guy Izano did really good. Kevin, well, I can't remember his last name, but Kevin, he played for the Slashers in that Series 5 that we did. He did really good also. So those 3 guys I would like to see. Oh, my guy, Kid, we call him Kid. He's a new guy that's out there in China right now too. He's really good, explosive on the springs too. So I just want to see those guys go at it.
And then outside of slam ball right now, are there any like professional athletes, whether they be NBA players, NFL players, that you think would be like really good, like adjusting to slam ball? Like, is there any name that kind of sticks out to you?
I definitely think Kyrie Irving would be dope on a slam ball court.
Handler,
yeah, because he seems like a multi-sport athlete. He seemed like he could have played football, he could have played basketball. It don't matter. And those type of guys, it translates well on the slam ball court. So Kyrie would be like one of the main guys I would like to see him get out there and do it.
Interesting. Kind of shifting gears here. So slam ball, obviously, like just watching some of the hits you guys take, it's pretty like kind of jarring. I'm just kind of like, how is this even allowed? Just like you guys fall, like I don't know how you guys don't roll ankles and stuff like how did I didn't see a single game where there was like a major, like a catastrophic injury. How is that? How does that even possible? It just doesn't even seem like it could make sense. So how do you guys like avoid injury and like, how does that work?
Well, okay. So first thing, like what we teach is, you got to take out some of the habits that you have on the normal floor. Like, when you fall down, sometimes you try to brace your fall, right? You brace your fall with your arm, or something like that. We got to take that. We take that out of your, your tendencies, out of your reflex. You know what I mean? So when you take a fall, you got to take the fall because normally it's going to be on something spring loaded or on the springs. Okay. So you're going to be safe. You know what I mean? The hitting rule, the check rule on the floor is more from the waist up, neck down. Anywhere here, you can get blasted. So that kind of keeps you safe. I don't know if anyone knows. Also, we had some like compression gear that has some small padding in there also. So, most of the guys will have on their compression pads, so that easing up some of the blows. But for the most part, it's just about how you train on the safety protocol that we have set for slam ball. Once that's in there and people really like, all the way sell into the safety protocol, hey, you can get loose out there. It looks way crazier than it is, but you see the guys always pop back up and they're ready to play.
That's true. If slam ball comes back relatively soon, what's like kind of one rule change, if there's any, that you would maybe want to see? My personal opinion, I would like to see, I love the idea of the face-off. I don't really like the idea of getting the ball back after the face-off. That's kind of my personal take. I don't know. What is there a rule change that you would like to see happen once slam ball makes its return?
I would hope that was a good point because I mentioned that was something I mentioned too. I kind of want to see it as, you want to reward them on that face off because in order to get a face off, you did something really bad. Yeah. So if you did it that hard, if you made that bad of a mistake out there, someone could have probably got hurt, right? Luckily they didn't. We get a face off. Now, if this guy comes in and makes that face off on you, let's get the ball back to them. You know what I mean? I think that should be rewarded. But if that guy, he messes you up and then he comes there and block your shot, when it face off, that team gets the ball. You know what I mean? He made a stop. He just manhandled you. You know, I would like that. I would like that, you know, because that gives the defense a chance to come in and make a strong play at the end of the game also.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That puts the pressure on the offense also.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that keeps it even. I also would like to see that hockey assist come into play.
Right.
You know, because you got to think 3 plays ahead in SlamBall in order to make, you can't change your mind once you're 18 feet in the air and go a different direction. Right. So you got to play ahead. You got to know what you're doing ahead of time. So that hockey assist would be dope to me.
Mm-hmm. My only issue with the first rule, I mean, obviously, you know a lot more about this. I mean, you've thought about this a lot more than me, but wouldn't that almost incentivize fouling and like getting faceoffs if the defense can get the ball back on a slam, like on a miss, right? Wouldn't that kind of incentivize fouling?
Well, you got to watch who you're fouling because, you know, you don't get that many, you there?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Sorry. Yeah, you got to watch who's fouling also because you don't get a bunch of fouls like in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't
3 fouls, right?
Yeah, you get 3.
Right.
Yeah, you can foul if you want, and then what if you fouled in the wrong person? They just keep smashing on you because if you really study the technique for the face-off, I know a foolproof way to get there.
Okay, can I guess what it is? Can I guess what it is? Okay. Is it attacking the weak side of the rim? Is that what it is? Is it
that I used to think
I saw you do that a few times and I was thinking like that's really smart. I've never seen anybody do that. Just use the rim.
Because you can use the rim to block to block you. That's one. But now that you know we've learned how to bounce quickly or bounce high. And now I can read their feet when they're jumping into the trampoline. When I'm jumping in, I get a choice. Once I leave the floor into the trampoline, I'm looking at the feet. Mm-hmm. You know, when they're jumping in to see what they're gonna do. Now, either they gotta get over to the bottom trampoline fast and then go straight up. But if I'm going fast, I got a chance to go fast and pull up and float, and then they most likely are just gonna fly by me, and I got something, or I can just get to the basket before they get there. You know what I mean? So if you got somebody and you put the wrong person in a face-off situation, they could pick you apart. You know.
Interesting. So when you watch the NBA, like there's always like one play that just is kind of like the bread and butter of NBA offense. That's the pick and roll. Is there kind of like a pick and roll of SlamBall? Not necessarily like the pick and roll in SlamBall, but just like, is there like a kind of a set piece that kind of just is kind of what every single team is starting to run more a little bit?
It would probably be there's actually 2 that are really will fall into the same category as a pick and roll and become this traditional way of, you know, attacking that unlocks a lot of other things, right? And there's one, if you're trailing me and I'm attacking the top spring bed and I got my trailer coming behind me, if I go really fast and I fake the attack, you know, off the top spring bed, but I bring it to the island, my trailer's right behind me. Right. So now I attack and I run the stopper up when he's going down, I'm making the pass up for the lob. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's one thing. And then the backdoor lob from side spring bed to side spring spot from the side spring bed to the other side spring bed is sort of the same thing. I would just draw the stopper in on my side of the rim and then have to toss it over his head for the guy behind him to catch the lob. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Last question here. For the 9 and 10-year-olds that will surely be watching this interview, how do you recommend training to play SlamBall if you're that age? Like, what do you do? Because obviously not a lot of people are going to have access to like a full SlamBall court. How do you go about training and making yourself like viable for a future SlamBall opportunity if it arises?
Yeah, I mean, you know, what we didn't grow up with all these trampoline parks is out here now, you know. So if you stay at one of those trampoline parks, you're going to have some fun just dunking on those, you know, trampoline basketball rims that's there. Just try out a bunch of stuff, just get more comfortable in the air with the ball, you know, have people make some passes to you, set up some little drills for you guys, you know. And, you know, if this thing does evolve into something like how skateboarding did, you know, you have all these guys coming out of these trampoline parks that become like, you know, studs, you know what I mean? And just come to a SlamBall court and just start wrecking it, you know. So yeah, just a lot of transfers. You got to be comfortable transferring from spring bed to spring bed, and keeping your balance and being able to cut back and forth, because you got to move around the springs like it's, the ground, regular ground. Of course, you got to, regular agility, coordination, make sure you're stretching, keep your body loose, regular, just that's standardized athletic, training. That stuff still stands there, but we just have to be comfortable on the trampolines and comfortable in the air.
Okay. All right. Sorry. One last question. Then I promise I'm done. Okay. This is just kind of like general, looking back at your SlamBall career, favorite moment ever from your SlamBall career, whether it be coaching, playing, whatever it is.
Yeah, I would have to say coaching. I had one situation. There was about maybe 16 teams. When we first opened, this is our second location in Wuhan, China. There was about 16 teams, and they were all lined up. They were all lined up together with the team banner in front of them. And we was getting ready to start, the USAA, the University SlamBall Athletic Association tournament for that year. And to be there and have Mason there, have Michael there, Mason Gordon, Michael Son, myself, and all the rest of the SlamBall partners, and all those students that was there ready to play in nice uniforms, awesome SlamBall court. To me, doing that was much better than just being there for that was much better than anything else I've been around for SlamBall, because that made me feel like that we're growing this thing. We're growing this thing. We're not going to stop, and we're going to make sure that we're going to see more of thousands of kids get on there and have a chance to play this sport and change it from the old SlamBall to what we see our minds looking at. We see this in our mind as this thing, these guys doing all these crazy aerial tricks and making these passes, and the team has this continuity and chemistry where they're doing all these aerial passes. We see the game like that, and we've been seeing it like that. And just to see those young kids ready to take on the challenge of being a SlamBall player and push the envelope, that was the best for me.
That's awesome. So Stanley Fletcher, you can follow him on Instagram at @SlamBall_shakes, but instead of the A and the E, there's an 8 in there. So I'll also link that down below in my description.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I'm sure you're super busy. It's been fun, and wish you all the best. I'm looking forward to seeing where SlamBall goes. So thank you.
I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Thank you too, man.